Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon for June 30th, 2018. With your host, Peacemaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
Okay, while you were getting everything started, I looked on Tumblr, and someone has a post of saying, hey, type in your favorite Pokemon and post the first GIF that comes out as a result. There's two results of note. Apparently, Spheel's walk animation from the Sun and Moon data is him rolling. And I'm guessing this is Bidoof, where it's a level 100 Bidoof facing 5 legendary Pokemon at the same time. I think someone hacked Sun and Moon to mess with some Horde mode spawns.
Possibly.
Because there's a Dialga, a Palkia, an Arceus, a Giratina, and a Regigigas, all facing down the level 100 Bidoof. If you're gonna ask me what the levels of the legendaries are, I can't tell you, because they don't exist. There's just level and blank. Just blank. So I don't know what their levels are.
Shoutouts to the first song that decided to come up tonight. The remix of the Rainbow Road track. From Harmony of Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I need to add some more albums into the playlist I have for streams.
We need to set a playlist up that we both can access. You know it?
Yeah. Trying to think how to do that.
Well, if you set up a private one, I think you can share it by link. If I'm remembering correctly.
Off what?
On YouTube, anyhow.
Oh.
Yeah.
All my music is...
Yeah, I know, you use iTunes.
All my music's actual files. I was just thinking, oh, you just need my music. I could just zip that all together and just send it to you.
Yeah, that wouldn't be... Yeah, because I'm running out of room on my computer.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some playlist somewhere of a whole bunch of video game music.
Although, you know what you could do? When you got a list of it, you could just tell me what songs, and I could try to throw a playlist on YouTube together.
Yeah, that would probably be simpler.
Yeah. Probably would.
Yeah. So we're out of E3 nonsense. We're back to normal things.
Normal things. Define normal things.
As normal as it gets, considering we're going to be talking about some AR nonsense. A Hamster Ball of Doom. A Halo TV series.
I was wondering if you had that.
Sony's reason for not wanting crossplay. Splatoon 2, not surprising news. And then Smash Brothers 5, kind of sad news.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you might be right. We might can consider this 5 until proven otherwise now.
I think for all intents and purposes, Nintendo is considering this a 5. So I'm just going to say it's 5.
Well, seeing as how even some of the returning characters they reworked to make them more balanced.
Yeah.
It's one of those, yeah, this now kind of feels more like a 5.
Yeah.
If it was simply we're getting all the characters, then yeah, 4.5.
But no, we are getting that. We are getting a shit ton of stages. And new items, along with returning items. And God knows what else at this point, because they've only... a little spoiler for the article coming up, or at the end. It's an interview with, I forgot who, but they confirmed that they only showed off a small bit of what Smash Ultimate is at E3. And bear in mind, all the characters and shit is what they call a small bit. So, assumingly, we still have trophies to talk about, which God knows how many trophies are going to be in this fucking game. I swear to God, if they say, oh, we're going to put in every fucking trophy we can. Oh, God. Because assuming it's set up like Smash 4 was, there's at least 3 trophies per character at a minimum. Still no word on a classic mode or an all-star mode or any other bonus modes. So, yes.
Yeah. Which, like I was saying before, wasn't Smash 4 technically supposed to be the last one in terms of any kind of story mode, essentially?
I don't know about that. All I know is they didn't want to do a Subspace Emissary for 4 because everybody shared the cutscenes for Subspace Emissary on YouTube, and they didn't like that. Which is such a stupid Nintendo thing for them to do, but I'm honestly not surprised.
Well, the reason I'm kind of wondering on that is because if they did, this is kind of bringing back every character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously we're adding some new ones because Daisy and possibly more.
Yeah.
I mean, we introduced an entire new subcategory of character and only had one person to fill in. Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen plenty of speculation that there are a lot more Echo Fighters to come because, okay, let's look at who we have here right now. Like, off the top of your head, from characters that are on the rosters, who else? What other Echo Fighters could you think of that would just be repaints?
Well, and that is kind of a tough question too, because of the simple fact of how many characters do we have that are prominent enough to, in order to be considered for being a character, that aren't already.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, the two big ones in terms of the Mario series kind of boils down to Daisy and Waluigi at this point.
Yeah.
And we already know about Daisy.
Mm-hmm.
And with Waluigi being an assist trophy, maybe not. Like, could they break the mold and be like Waluigi's both an assist trophy and a character?
I think they've definitively said, no, he's an assist trophy at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that can't change.
Right.
I think, honestly, probably outside of Fire Emblem, it would be a little more challenging to pick characters that would fit the Echo Fighter mentality without, one, cheapening the character, or two, being some obscure someone.
Well, I know one they could easily do off the top of my head, and weirdly enough involves Bayonetta. They could just do Jean. Because there's no reason Jean needs to be a separate character, because they both fight the exact same way. So Jean could just as easily be a reskin of Bayonetta. And there's another Echo Fighter for you.
I would say that's assuming they could get the okay to do that, but that might more boil down to, is he gonna be known enough outside of people that played Bayonetta to be recognizable?
True. Also, her. Not him, her.
Oh. Well, still.
John's her.
Still. My point
That's-
exactly.
Yeah. Ken from Street Fighter for Ryu?
That one possibly, if they'll okay it.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be that question where third parties are like, yeah. Because, I mean, if we wanted to go that point, and for all intents and purposes, Squall from 8 could technically fit that also.
Yeah, you could probably apply Cloud's moveset to Squall. I about said Leon.
You wouldn't
That's
be wrong.
I know, but that's the Kingdom Hearts fan in me calling him Leon, but that's not his name.
They're both Square games. Square knew that going into both of them, kind of deal.
I want to say
It's kind of
some
on
dumb-
them if someone says something like that.
I know. I think there's some dumb reason Squall is called Leon in Kingdom Hearts 1. And I think it's a dumb plot reason, too.
Probably. Because it seems stupid he's the only one that's not named the same.
Yeah.
Just gonna say that.
Granted, it doesn't help that a bunch of Final Fantasy characters, even within the same series that they are from, are oddly differently represented. Because you know how Leon is his normal age and stuff?
Uh-huh.
Then you have...
Uh-huh.
Is it Yuffie? Is it Yuffie?
She's not from 8. Oh.
Alright. Okay, the girl with
Selfie.
nunchucks for me.
Selfie. Who was
Selfie.
on the island
Selfie.
with all
Selfie.
of them in one.
And is a kid!
Yeah.
And is like half Leon's age.
And well, not necessarily half, but at least a bigger age difference than what should be.
Yep, and then Waka and Titus are on the island, but Yuna and then the rest of the Sphere Hunters are fairies?
Yeah,
Did you not know about that one?
yeah, I did.
Okay. Because you just had that pause of just like, wait, what? I didn't know about
One of
Yuna.
those- No, it's just one of those that I don't know what to say about that because that's a stupid move on Square's part altogether.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, remember these continuities from within the games themselves? Oh, they don't count.
To be fair, it's not like any Final Fantasy character ever references their own plot from their own games. Except maybe Cloud and Sephiroth. But even that is nebulous at best.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like if you stray away from third parties, who else could be the oh crap, I forgot the term already.
Echo Fighter.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking through, and the only
Like-
ones that come to mind are with Pac-Man, you can do Miss Pac-Man. With Mega Man, you can do Proto Man. That's an easy, just reskin and you're done.
Okay, but right there, you just named 2 more third parties.
Yep.
Like, I feel Echo Fighter might at this point be developed only for third parties. So that
Yeah.
might be the goals they're making there. But
Yeah.
outside of that, we know they're putting Daisy in as an Echo Fighter, so who else Nintendo side would actually fit that?
Honestly, the only thing I can think of is different costumes, and that kind of stops there.
Yeah. Because, I
Which-
mean, let's be honest. Really, Fox and Falco fit that whole main character Echo Fighter concept there, but they've both been characters themselves.
Yep.
So that can't happen now.
Mhm.
If you tried to throw Slippy or Peppy in, just based off of knowing their character models from 64, I couldn't see either one of them playing like Fox or Falco.
Yeah, I don't see either one of them being working like that.
So they couldn't be.
And we know Crystal's an assist trophy, so that can't work.
That could be that same scenario Waluigi fits right now.
Yeah.
It could be a potential.
Which I think people are speculating Shadow is an Echo Fighter because his assist trophy is missing, but we have Knuckles now.
It wouldn't surprise me, but like I said, there again, that's another third party.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I feel like this was made for third parties.
Yeah. Which I know I read I think it was a Smash Dojo Tumblr was like, oh, I can't wait to see Meta Ridley, even though I believe we have confirmed we're getting Meta Ridley as a costume for Ridley. Like, it's not Meta
we
Ridley.
Would have to.
It's not Meta Ridley from Prime, mind you. It's proto Meta Ridley from Samus Returns, and I think Prime 1.
But I feel like a skin for that would be just enough.
Yeah.
Because I can't foresee moves being different enough to warrant another character.
Yeah, I just found it weird that someone was questioning that, and I'm like, no, it's confirmed we're getting that skin, because I remember seeing it. I want to say it's in Ridley's trailer. It's a flash and you miss it second, mind you, but it's in his trailer.
There was another one I thought of for a second there, and I forgot now. Crap. Oh well, I'm not going to keep trying to think about it. It'll come back if it's important.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
But yeah, like I said, outside of Fire Emblem, oh yeah, I think I might know another potential Echo Fighter that could be Nintendo side. And I say Nintendo side very loosely. Raichu.
Yeah.
Could have the whole evolution tree there.
Yeah.
And Raichu, I would have to think, plays similar enough to Pikachu to warrant the Echo Fighter. I mean, one of those I would think that anyhow.
Yeah. And I am right. I double checked it. Yeah, it's it's not the full like metal redo or full like I wouldn't say armor. What do you even call that, Ridley? From is it Prime 2?
I don't remember.
This is the Meta Ridley that just has the chest armor and like the metallic wings, but he's not like full Robo. But I think they're both called Meta Ridley.
I think so.
I'm willing to bet if I do Meta Ridley Wiki and head to the Metroid one, it lists both of them as Meta Ridley in a gallery. Yeah, okay, it's the Meta Ridley from Brawl.
Okay.
So that one, essentially.
I'm kind of saying this one simply because it could potentially be. What about Baby Bowser? You know, implement Yoshi Island kind of a little bit more.
Maybe
be a Echo Fighter of the Koopalings.
Yeah. I mean, we already have Bowser Jr.
But Baby Bowser's different.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of those, if we are stretching for ideas for Echo Fighters, we go that way. But I have to feel like other stuff's taking priority.
I wouldn't be surprised if Echo Fighters built mainly for third parties.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the third parties probably came and said, "Hey, we got good vibes out of when you used our character. Use more."
Yeah, because like even Snake has an Echo Fighter, and like you could do either like you could do Naked Snake, you could do Liquid Snake,
Yeah.
you could do any of the other snakes that look exactly like him. Like the other one who
You could
theoretically could have a different move set is Venom. And that's only because he has a rocket arm.
you could probably get away with most of the characters out of any of the Metal Gears to kind of do as an Echo Fighter for Snake. Like that's pretty open ended on that one. To be fair.
I would hold the exception for Raiden, but that is a Revengeance Raiden.
I said pretty much a lot
Yeah.
of them.
If we're
I'm
talking
sure
about
there's
two
exceptions.
Raiden is fine, but Revengeance Raiden, no. That man does not need a gun to kill you. All he needs is a sword. And if you do Revengeance Raiden, you can do an Echo Fighter or Gray Fox off of him, and then you're good there. But I don't think we're going down that route.
I doubt it.
Which is weird because Revengeance is a platinum game.
But yeah, I honestly can't think of too many Nintendo-based characters that the Echo Fighters would benefit from.
Yeah.
Because most of them have been done.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I am curious as to whether Waluigi would even fit in an Echo Fighter profile. Because we technically have only ever had him in sports titles.
Yeah. Sports and party.
I don't even know about party titles.
No, he's been in the party titles.
He has?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
so
he's been in I think every Mario Party since 5, I think. 5, 6. One of the ones after Tennis, because he premiered in Mario Tennis. Some Mario Party after that, he started being in every single Mario Party from.
I mean, it's one of those. I feel like you might could get away with giving him an Echo Fighter off of maybe Luigi, but that's one of those. I feel like any kind of Echo Fighter on Waluigi would be just stretching it. So that's yet another one to kind of be like, nope. I think though just about every third-party character that has been introduced has at least potential for one Echo Fighter, if not more.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, Waluigi's been playable since 3.
Oh, yeah, I was
Okay.
thinking because didn't the first Mario Tennis come out on the N64?
Yeah, it did come out on N64.
So 3 was the last one on the N64.
Yeah. And he's been playable since 3, except Mario Party events. Which Mario
Yeah.
Party events traded out most of the Mario characters for literally there's actually only 4 playable characters. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi. That's it. No more, no less. Yeah, the problem with Echo Fighters is like the vibe I get off them is this is essentially us taking the idea of having the color changes for characters as different skins and different characters and giving them their own fighter slot. kind of like the Olimar Alf situation, and like Bowser Jr. and the Koopa Kids. It's that.
Did they? I just happened to think about that. Did they happen to mark Alf or any of the Koopalings as Echo Fighters?
Nope.
So they're still going to be sharing just like they did before.
Yep. I think they decided. I'm starting to think Echo Fighter is more or less a case of, okay, we admit Lucina and Dark Pit were superfluous additions to 4. We're gonna give them this designation so that they're not technically full characters anymore.
Which they that that's a double-edged sword there.
Yeah,
Because if you do that, I feel like at that point the Koopalings should have went ahead and been split.
because like every Koopaling is an Echo Fighter. Alf is an Echo Fighter. Dr. Mario is an Echo Fighter.
But
Falco's
Dr. Mario didn't get marked.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's because he is different than Mario to enough of a point.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of them I'm like, okay, I can see that. Dr. Mario and Mario do play slightly different, so maybe I could be okay with that one.
Yeah.
But, you know, you mentioned something else about Olimar and Alf. There is other commanders in the Pikmin series.
Yeah.
Any of them could be Echo Fighters.
Yeah. It's like that's like the one thing we could do with this.
I wasn't even thinking about that. And I mean, I kind of said about Fire Emblem, but that's one of those. I'm sure Nintendo realizes they've got too many Fire Emblem characters, so that might not happen.
Okay, here's the thing about the Fire Emblem characters. It's not that we have too many Fire Emblem characters. It's we have too many Fire Emblem characters that kind of feel the same. Because half of them are just straight up sword users. Nothing fancy to them.
I agree, and at the same time, I disagree. Because I can play Lucina far better than I can play Marth or Ike. And that's because I can feel that they play differently.
Right.
It's one of those, when people complain about that, I'm like, yeah, okay, you obviously haven't played with them 3. They
Right.
each have their own feel.
Right. But if you look at it visually, it's just a whole bunch of sword fighters. And
yeah.
like Robin is different because she uses magic, and Corrin is different because she has dragon attacks. And Ike is different because some of his attacks have fire. And that's the
and
only
can
noteworthy
kill
thing.
you.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, Ike has terrible recovery.
Right. It's because they gave Ether as his fucking recovery move, and you know what? You missed the ledge. Well, you're taking a one-way trip down because that's the only way you're going. But like Roy has fire now, so they're kind of similar in that visual aspect. And Marth has nothing to him visually besides I am Marth. I am the first main character. But I'm gonna clue you in, folks who are not fans of Fire Emblem, as to why this is the case. It's because every main character of Fire Emblem uses a goddamn sword by default. That is how it has been forever. Your main character uses a sword by default. That is how they all are. That's why they all have swords. That's why they all use swords. If we had an axe main character, or a lance main character, or a magic main character, it would be different. But we don't. Because you know who's the most recognizable character out of any of these individual Fire Emblem titles? The one you start the games with. And these are the characters you start those games with. That's just how it breaks down.
I wonder, though, if in part that might not also just be a cop-out. on
It is.
Smash's part
It is. To be honest, it
because
is.
they could have just as easily focused on one game and pulled at least one character of each type.
They could have done that, or they could have delved more into the supporting roles, but it's a catch-22 because if you don't do the main characters of those games, you'll have fans of those games whine, moan, and complain that you didn't do the main characters of those games.
But if you don't touch the game entirely, then that complaint doesn't exist.
But then you complain about them not doing your favorite Fire Emblem titles. Or some
And you
Fire Emblem
think that
title that
still ain't
isn't X,
happening?
Y, or Z Fire Emblem title.
You think that still doesn't happen?
I know. But at the very least, we have the eras of Fire Emblem covered.
Like that's the issue. They're trying to pander to an entire fan base that is split amongst how many games? I mean,
Do we count the Japanese only ones? If so, it's a lot.
I don't think we can because have they had any representation in Smash so far?
I'll put it this way. Martha and Roy were that representation until their games came out in North America after Melee came out.
Fair.
Martha and Roy was that. Fire Emblem was that until the first GBA one came out. Literally, that was our first Fire Emblem game, was the one on GBA. And there's like 7 more before that, including Marth. Marth didn't have his game come out in America until Shadow Dragon on DS. That is how long it took for Marth to actually have a game in North America that North American players could have played if they played him in Smash. Until the Shadow Dragon remake came out, you could not play a game with Marth in it outside of Smash. Because he just didn't exist.
I feel like, though, at this point, now anyhow, we probably wouldn't have to count them.
Yeah.
But still, that's going to be quite a bit.
Yeah. Like,
because in that same aspect, we do kind of have to take a look at Warriors, which I'm sure kind of just goes all over the place with it too.
Honestly, it mainly pulls from 3 games, and that's it.
It only pulls from 3 games right now. Need I remind you about Hyrule Warriors?
It still only is pulling from 3 games, including all of its DLC. And it's not released any DLC in, I think, in 3 months. It mainly pulls from Marth, Awakening, and Fates. That's it. If there are any additional characters, it's Selena from Echoes, Lynn from her title I can't remember the name of, and then Anna, who is just kind of Anna from this game. Like, she's not any specific Anna from any game. She's just kind of Anna for this one. Other than that, nobody else from any other game shows up. Like, I will double check, but all of the DLC just covered the 3 games that Warriors mainly focused on.
That's kind of
all 3 DLCs.
That's kind of odd after seeing the way they did Hyrule Warriors with nearly every Zelda timeline covered.
This is why people don't like Fire Emblem Warriors and prefer Hyrule Warriors. Even fans, like, the Fire Emblem Warriors stream I did, me and somebody else had a back and forth conversation about this and pointed out how this was stupid. Like, I played devil's advocate in the fact of, alright, there's a reason Fates is nearly half the roster. Because it's Korin and, like, the 4 siblings from each family. Or from Hoshido and Nor. Why? Because they're the main characters. Plus Corrin. That's why they have 9 characters and are the most of any roster. Because Awakening has the second most at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At 6, and that's only Corrin, Robin, Lissa, Frederick, Cordelia, and Lucina. And that's kind of almost your opening party outside Lucina, but Lucina's important because she has Smash cred. And then Marth gets himself, Sita, and Tiki, and that's it.
You know, that seems kind of stupid.
Yep. DLC only doubles Shadow Dragon's roster by adding in 3 characters. Awakening gets 3 more characters. It gets Starja, Olivia, and Wayne, who Wayne was already in the game to start with. And then Fates gets 3 more characters, which means Fates has the most characters in this game by a mile. Again, Fire Emblem Warriors representation is kind of garbage for the franchise overall.
Whereas
You know,
Hyrule Warriors is a really good representation of nearly every Zelda title.
except Breath of the Wild, which it came out before Breath of the Wild, so duh.
Well, that's a bit of a touchy part there. Cause let's be honest, we know that this link technically isn't any of the other timeline links. So, question mark?
Yeah.
Because we know Breath of the Wild kind of fits in that same scenario where, yeah, it's not any of the other timelines, essentially.
To quote the developers, it's where you want it to be. Because fuck the timeline. We're not worried about the timeline anymore. Making the timeline in the first place was a stupid decision.
I feel like if it is anywhere in the timeline, they're definitely not going to tell us now.
Yes.
Like that's obvious. But it will be more obvious of where it is when we get the sequel kind of deal. Because I have a funny feeling this wasn't a one-off story.
Mm-hmm.
The way they ended it just doesn't feel that way. So, yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. Honestly, if I were to say someone who isn't a sword user that they should add in a Smash, just add Hector. Everyone knows Hector. Big ass axe wielding person, big tanky. That gives you a big heavy axe wielding character. Just add Hector. If you need a Lancer, go add Azura from Fates, and everyone can cry about not getting X, Y, or Z staff wielding character. Because Azura might be the most recognizable person outside of some Pegasus Knight. I don't think there's a recognizable enough archer or mage wielder on their own that you can add in.
I bet if you took the mobile game into consideration, you might could come up with cases for both of those.
Yeah, like an arch wheeler. The problem is if I'm like, okay, archer, who's my most recognizable archer I can think of? Immediately I go to Takumi and I'm like, nope, we don't need any more Fates characters. I don't want to fall into that trap. Who else is an archer? Piss. The only people that are coming to mind are the 2 from Path of Radiance. And I just look at that and go, I don't think so. Would you like to play as like a 6-year-old boy archer that can legitimately kick your ass?
I mean, Might be funny.
Yeah, that's about the only two archers I could think of, because I'm like, I don't remember who your awakening archer was. Oh wait, no, I thought of the third archer from Path of Radiance, and it was Astrid, and no, I don't think anyone wants Astrid. She was kind of garbage. So yeah, like as a Fire Emblem fan, I understand. Like I look at this roster of Smash characters and go, yes, I understand why this is how it is, and I know it's frustrating. But I also have to go, I don't know, like, there's no other main character who doesn't use a sword. Until Three Houses confirms who its main character is, and maybe confirms that they're not a sword user, because that might be the case right now, that our main character for Three Houses is not a sword user. They might be an axe user. And maybe, cross our fingers, that person, I think it's the girl, is going to be added to the Smash Ultimate DLC, maybe like Corrin, to promote the game, because that game comes out in spring. Maybe. Otherwise, I don't know. I got nothing. Because if you really, really need other characters of certain classes for Fire Emblem to kind of round out that representation, honestly, I just go to Heroes, look at your data there, and try to figure out something from there.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking would be the answer.
Because, like, I think almost like every major character from across the franchise is in Heroes at this point. Every single one of them, including multiple iterations of certain characters. And if not, you can look at the choose your hero numbers, because those votes pull from every character in existence of the franchise, no matter how dumb it might be. Because remember, it also includes Yuna, the bird, from Radiant Dawn in that list. Not kidding. Oh wait, no, I just thought of a magic user. You could just add Micaiah from Radiant Dawn. There you go. There's your magic user. I know that's another modern character, but like, it's either her or Selena or Serena. But Serena is more sword than magic, unless you do more like sword magic combo, but then you just enter into Robin territory with that.
Yep.
Because Robin has already got that shtick. Again, welcome. There's problems with Fire Emblem and trying to get spread like distinctive representation.
Hence why I feel like Echo Fighter might be the answer for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that might legitimately be the only Nintendo franchise that I can think of that definitely would have potential with the Echo Fighter stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
and I almost wonder if maybe they did that as an answer to that, so they could add more Fire Emblem characters as needed.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily do an Echo Fighter of Ike into the Black Knight. Granted, you're still in the same game, but I'm okay with that.
Though.
Biased as fuck.
Well, I mean,
I'm okay with that.
Okay, to this I'm gonna say, were we to throw out same game concepts, half the roster of Smash wouldn't exist.
Right.
So, why not?
Yeah. You could probably do Chrom off Mars for a second Echo Fighter if you really wanted to throw Chrom in there, funsies, because he could just act like Lucina and it's okay. I don't think anyone's going to super complain about that.
I think my biggest complaint out of the whole Echo Fighter situation, Lucina's now classified as an Echo Fighter. As I stated before, you can tell there's a difference in how gameplay is in Smash 4.
Mm-hmm.
is that going to change?
Wow.
Or are the Echo Fighters essentially going to have the same moveset but be able to feel differently?
It'll
'Cause-
probably be same moveset, feel different.
Because if that's the case, then that also kind of boils into why isn't Dr. Mario in that? Why isn't Pichu going to be in that? Why isn't Falco going to be in that? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those, why do we have these that got around the rule, but we're having no problems changing these characters then?
And I think that will mostly boil down to those characters have seniority, and people would complain if we labeled them as Echo Fighters, so we're not. But no one's going to complain about Dark Pit and Lucina being Echo Fighters.
It's one of those, if they don't do anything major to the character to make them just feel like clones, then, and they do feel different kind of deal, then I'm going to be at the point of, okay, well, regardless of how long they've been in the franchise, why didn't we go ahead and classify these also?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just because you classify them doesn't mean anything derogative.
Yeah.
Fox having a Echo Fighter out of Falco would make perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Falco, while he does play a little different, if you're a Fox player, you can play Falco. If you're a Falco player, you can play Fox. It doesn't make that big of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the big question right there. But
Shall we?
let's
I was
move
going to say,
on.
should we talk about articles? But we haven't even talked about what we've been playing these last couple weeks.
Well, you know, seeing as how we kind of just had the spiral of E3 plus GDQ back to back just about.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's not much.
Well, I've gotten to try all of the DLC that Nintendo was talking about at E3 because I played the Donkey Kong Adventure from Mario Plus Rabbids, I played Octo Expansion, and I played the Challenge Mode from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I at least got to try all that, and I got to try the Octopath Traveler demo.
I've got the Octopath Traveler second demo downloaded. I've got to specify that because guess what? That's two separate demos.
Well,
I don't think the first one's on the eShop anymore, though.
I don't think it should be, because I believe this is just an improved version of that demo, and your save file from this should carry over to that game, which I actually think that for this demo, they literally just gave you the opening, 3 hours of the game to fuck around in.
Probably.
Because it feels like when I...
But yeah, when I downloaded it, I was like, oh, this isn't overriding the other demo. Oh. Okay. Well.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, they were not planning for that, I can tell.
Yeah, because I guess I can talk about it. That's my first time playing Octopath Traveler.
Which character did you play?
I went Hunter first, then went and picked up Thief, and then picked up Apothecary, and that was the end of my 2 hours.
Remember, because I know two of them were in the original demo.
Hunter was the one with the pets, so you could capture monsters to be your special moves, essentially. Oh, a separate set of special moves, mind you, because she has her own set of special moves. It's essentially, do you need some elemental coverage that you don't already have? Go capture a monster that covers that for you. Which I kind of dug. I kind of dug the idea of, all right, do you need some coverage on like elements or attack or specific attacks? Well, you can just capture a monster. You can get like 4 charges of that attack. Because the monsters are, you can only use monsters a certain amount of times outside of your main pet. Which, oddly enough, your main pet doesn't list its type coverage. It's spear, if I remember right. Which is odd that it doesn't list that, but it lists it for everything else.
Huh.
But I liked it. I thought it was a weird introduction because they were using a whole bunch of Old English wordage for that one. And I'm like, oh, is this going to be the whole game? And then immediately when I get to the thief, it's just like, nope. It's only her, and her story is using Old English. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why they chose this, but okay, sure. The thief is kind of cool.
The dancer and the warrior were the 2 that were in the original.
Oh, okay, so I didn't touch either one of them. Like, I was gonna try to do all of them if the 2 hours would let me, but I only got through Apothecary's intro. Because pretty much what I did was did the chapter 1 for Hunter, and then went straight to where the thief was and did his chapter 1. And then from there, I went and did the chapter 1 for Apothecary. Which, there's a couple interesting things I've noticed. First and foremost, when you go pick up a new character, you essentially talk to them at a location, you get their intro sequence, and you play through their kind of introduction tutorial sequence, and then as soon as you come out of what is essentially a flashback, since you're picking them up, you get to go do their story, but you have your other character there, so it benefits you to actually go and do everybody's chapter 1s first, pick everybody up, and then start doing chapter 2s and such. But I think the game levels properly in that situation. Because, bear in mind, I didn't really have any difficulties in playing the game until I hit the Apothecary's boss, or final boss for his chapter, and it kicked my ass. Because of all the poison stuff going on with it. And I want to say the game actually turned up the level of that, or the difficulty of that boss fight, because I was coming in with 2 additional characters. Because the boss had stun capabilities and poison capabilities, like multiple turn stun and poison capabilities, and I just had to look at that and go, all right, you have that plus 2 minions. There is no way in fuck I'm doing this with Apothecary solo. You turned up the difficulty on this boss fight because I came in with backup. I don't know. Someone who played Apothecary first might have to tell me otherwise. Because I feel like, yeah, they balance out the difficulty depending on how many party members you have. Because I think I noticed if I went to the map screen after I picked up a character, the levels increased for everybody on what level they were supposed to be at. Or like what level was appropriate for all the story stuff. So, yeah, it auto-balances depending on who you pick up. So just because you go pick up everybody does not make the game easier. Not by a long shot. But yeah, once you're out of the tutorial sequence, you just go do the chapter 1 with that character. Like, the character doesn't exist in the story, essentially. Like, they're kind of just off to the side, off stage, when their plot's going on. But for fights and stuff, they're there. And they can help. And I think it's also beneficial you actually do this because you get a lot of added extra combat capabilities by doing that. Because, like, type coverage you normally wouldn't have for that chapter 1, like, for the thief, there are enemies that can't be broken by the thief. because he doesn't have the appropriate type coverage. But if you bring in somebody else who does have that type coverage, all of a sudden you can break every enemy now. Like, you can actually do breaks and stuff. None of the 3 characters had an ability to let me see a health bar, which still annoys me considering the multiplier damage you can do in the game. Because I would like to know where their health bar is to manage that appropriately. Because, like, okay, in this game, essentially, you have essentially a bar that fills up that has a number of ticks, and you can essentially do either 4 of an attack if it's a standard attack, or quad damage of a special attack, I think. Is that how that works for special attacks?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know for special attacks, it doesn't do the number of attacks, the number of the multiplier, but it does increase the damage. So I'm assuming it does some multiplier of damage. But since I can't see a health bar, I don't know how to manage that properly, whether I should do the full 4 or just do 2 to get some medium damage and maybe push it into another phase, if that is even a thing in this game. If bosses even have phases, I assume they do. I never really encountered something like that, or felt like I encountered that, but like to push him into a phase maybe, or manipulate his AI maybe, or just, just do appropriate damage. But considering how fast the bar charges, maybe that's not something I should be worrying about. Because that bar charges fairly quickly if you get on your brakes pretty fast. I don't know. I might go back to the demo, start a new save file, and pick up with another one of the characters, and maybe go through 3 other characters and see how they are. But I think, from what I played, I liked it. But I think Octopath Traveler is going to be on the back burner of, I'll pick this up eventually alongside Hyrule Warriors when I'm not knee deep in other RPGs and I'm bug. Because unfortunately, there's other games I need to play, or especially RPG wise, that I want out of the way before I add in this on top of it. Because I assume there's going to be a lot to this game. So I think once I was done with Huntress, there was at least 4 side quests available for me to do right there in town before I even left.
Oh, wow.
I want to say it was at least 4 side quests right there in town before I even left after completing Chapter 1. And bear in mind, that doesn't even include the fact that you have your class actions that you can do, and I assume you're going to have to do those to open up side quests as well, or in other quests. And you'll also need other characters' class actions to open up other things, possibly across storyline, or across characters, possibly. Because with something like this, I'm going to assume, yeah, by the end of the game, they expect you to have the entire party together. And we're going to expect you to start balancing out the parties and balancing out these class actions and be doing a whole bunch of just, like, use the dancer to do this, and then you use the warrior, and then use the thief, and then you use this character's class action and such. Like, it seems like all the stories are standalone, but I have to think that there is one story that involves everybody at some point, maybe.
I would think. Because I couldn't see it not being kind of deal.
Yeah. Granted, when I look at the storylines, because the Huntress is, you are off looking for your master, who has mysteriously disappeared, and their pet has come back and essentially pulled you along to go try to find him. The thief is trying to get rid of Bracelet that brands him as shit at his job, until he finds these 3 crystals for this lady and her more than likely ex-thief butler. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of see where the thief storyline is going. Kind of on the nose. And then the apothecary is probably I'm gonna go discover this great cure for medicine of some variety by going around the world and collecting ingredients for it. And maybe somewhere along the way running into the guy that inspired me to become a doctor along the way. Like, that's where I see the storylines going. Off their chapter ones. Like the Huntress one, I wouldn't be surprised that you find out that your master is dead and some uber monster killed it and you have to go hunt it down.
True.
Like, I'm not saying any of these stories are bad, I'm just saying I kind of see where some of these are going from their chapter ones. Which is good. Like, those chapter ones are really good introductions and go, this is the character, this is the story, this is where we're going forward. Short, sweet, simple. Like, gives you a really good idea of where you're going for however long each individual story is. I assume probably 10 hours a piece for 80 hours total, assuming there is no combined storyline that takes 10 hours on top. Pushing
there probably is a combined storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to bet, because, like you said, from what I remember when I played the Warrior one, which, granted, it was only the prologue part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It did kind of feel like each character was going to have their own unique storyline, and then more than likely the lines were going to all draw together at some point.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens earlier than that, and like maybe there's part of people's backstories that cross over somewhere along the way, even though everyone's fairly separated in their chapter ones on the map screen. Because the thief has the backstory of, oh, my partner may have either died or betrayed me, or I screwed up and got him locked up somewhere or something. Like, he's got that baggage, and I'm speculating that he's dead, maybe because of him, because the thief doesn't seem like that bad of a guy, and it doesn't seem like he hates his old partner. Right. So I'm thinking they parted on good terms, or at least they parted on terms that he's not like dealt with yet, which aren't bad, but the guy's dead. Because it doesn't feel like he parted on bad. At least that's how I'm reading the dialogue. I might be wrong on that dialogue. Yeah, Octo expansion, we talked about that when we were playing Splatoon 2. I think most of what I wanted to say about Octo expansion I said during when we were playing Splatoon 2. Donkey Kong Country. It is actually 3 worlds. There's a shit ton of puzzles. Like, holy shit, are there so many puzzles in this game. Most of which are just for either a puzzle piece or just for stuff to fill out the museum. Like, they are dense with puzzles. Which I don't mind. I like some of the puzzles, and some of them were I couldn't figure out after a while, so I started skipping them, especially towards the end. The first final boss, or the first fight with Rabbit Kong, you really need to know how that boss is coming in, which is essentially you're not killing Rabbit Kong, you're killing the pool, essentially, that he's connected to. And also, you need to stay on the higher platforms, not on the lower ones, otherwise you will die very fast. And you need to stay mobile, like super mobile for that fight. The second fight, not so much, because it's kind of an easier boss fight. But that first one, it will kick your ass if you're not coming in prepared. Also, interesting, was there any weapons that gave bonuses to mid-bosses, or bosses specifically?
I don't think.
Well, in Donkey Kong Adventure, there are weapons that give you bonus damage directly to mid-bosses. Just generally, mid-bosses or bosses. And considering I haven't unlocked all the weapons, I assume that's the same for every character and all of their weapons. Also, Donkey Kong is broke as fuck. Jesus. Ground pound, taunt, a multi-hit maneuver, plus the ability for your reactions, your Overwatch shot to still multi-hit. And by default, all of that shit bounces. Meaning you can hit an enemy after overwatching and proc your own Overwatch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Donkey Kong's default status effect is bounce on all of his abilities. Cranky Kong's default is vamp on both of his weapons. And bear in mind, his crossbow is a shotgun. And it has a lot of range. Like, not a whole lot of width, but a lot of range. So if you got two enemies lined up, you're going to vamp off both of them for a good bit of damage. Like, I think theoretically, if you do it properly, Cranky would never have to be healed because he can heal off himself. Because, by the way, he also can slide. Donkey Kong can't slide, but he can throw enemies and terrain and your allies.
And anything that he can get his hands on.
Pretty much. I didn't see if he could throw the RC car from Rabbit Peach, but I'm sure he could probably throw that as well.
Probably.
That's like the one thing I didn't test out. But like, he's also super mobile. If you have those platforms, you will do laps around enemies. If you have those platforms plus pipes, you can do a lap around the map and still be able to move.
Well then.
It is ridiculous how mobile Donkey Kong is. And bear in mind, that's even when carrying someone. Because he can still move when he carries people. He still has all of his range when he carries someone. So he can just pick up somebody on one side of the map, move to the other side of the map if he's got all of his movement options, and dunk them. And still have all of his abilities in play.
Huh.
Because his carry is not an ability, it is a movement ability. Essentially his version of slide. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 challenge mode kicks my ass on normal, but I have beaten some of the things on easy, and I've unlocked Shulk and Fiora for the main game, so I'm probably gonna have to level those up and then equip Shulk, because his ability to be able to go, oh, you're doing that move? No, you're not. I have foresight. No, you're not. I'm just gonna stop you from doing that move outright. Because that's literally Shulk's special ability. Even in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, was to have foresight and go, alright, they're going to do that very fancy move that's going to kill my party member. No, they're not. Just snap of the finger. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not doing that move anymore. We're doing our stuff now. I'm just going to cancel your ability to do that thing. Granted, it's a low percentage chance, but having that happen enough, especially for really close fights, could be the difference maker. There's not really anything else I can think of besides not really making progress in Pokemon Quest.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the gumption to go back to it yet.
I have essentially slowed to a crawl in that game.
I can imagine.
I think I'm on...
I think you've almost hit that paywall if you haven't already, kind of deal.
I'm essentially where I need to be at the 13,000, 14,000 power range. And bear in mind, neither one of those are bosses, so it's still higher. Like, my Pokemon are in the 60s at the moment, or near 60s.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I am crawling to beat these levels because even if I directly control my Pokemon in a fight, it's not happening. And I'm starting to think it's type coverage, which, by the way, the last two I'm on, their type coverage is Psychic and Electric. Yeah, want to know what my highest level Electric Pokemon is?
What?
A Pikachu at level 14.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not getting the bonus for Electric. Because I think at this point the game expects you to have a lot of Pokemon with a lot of different types that are high level because it expects you to be walking in with bonuses because it is difficult to grind out stones to inch your way by small single digits up the power scale. Because even with one Pokemon that is of relative same level with a type bonus gives you a plus about 1500 for the psychic one for me with a Slowbro that's about 10-ish levels behind my top Pokemon.
Hmm.
And bear in mind, that can only increase with multiple Pokemon. With multiple Pokemon, you're doubling that bonus, meaning you're breaking where you're supposed to be. Because for one of the stages, I had 2 ground Pokemon, and I think I had a 5,000 plus bonus, which meant I demolished anything in sight. But that's really it. I went back to 0.2 the other day during the 1 final mix speed run just to see where I was challenges wise and see what I could do. And yeah, the only challenges I have left in 0.2 are all the hard ones, and I don't feel like it. I really don't. Especially when it's the end boss rush that includes super hard Phantom Aqua that I can't get the timing down for when you're supposed to block, and I don't feel like fighting 2 hordes and bullshit fuck you tower in order to practice that fight in order to get it right. Yeah, no. Nah, I'm good. I don't feel like fighting Mirror Aqua. That's pretty much for me. You got anything?
About the only thing is I wound up using my Nintendo Gold points and picked up a cheap little indie game. Called Mecha Tales. It's kind of neat. It's a unique style of game. It's basically a side-scrolling platform shooter, but it's one of those where you use the right stick to shoot kind of deal.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's honestly kind of difficult if you're not expecting it. Not gonna lie. One of
Yeah,
those
it does.
patience kind of is a big key factor to the game. One of those, once I finish it the first time, I might see if it's something I may want to pick up as a speedrun kind of deal, because it looks like it would be interesting to kind of do. The only issue with that I was noticing is, yeah, it's not on speedrun.com.
Well, that'll be an easy world record.
Yeah, just finish the game. Because that would literally be it. But no, I would sit down and actually try to figure out best courses of strategy, damage boosting, stuff like that. Because certain enemies will let you kind of jump on top of them, which is kind of an odd thing.
Yeah.
it kind of caught me off guard the first time I did it, and I did it on accident, kind of deal.
Mm.
But outside of that, I've attempted to do Odyssey runs. Attempted being the key word there. The best thing that I can say is I did a festival percent run today, and I shaved 12 seconds off of my last PB, but that means nothing because yeah, I still have to shave like 6 more seconds before I even pass the next person on the leaderboard. So I'm like, yep, not even gonna fool with submitting that one. Not even worth it. But otherwise, that's about it besides what we've done while we were streaming.
Yeah. Steam Summer Sale has been this week, and I haven't spent money on it outside of making money with the trading cards in order to get badges for the trading cards that I do have in my inventory. Yeah, I found out one of the Shantae cards I had was a foil, and it's worth like 20 cents.
Ah,
And I was like, ooh, I might as well sell this because I'm not getting the foil for this, and I don't care. I also found out it'll take me, with missing about half the cards for Ruby Grim Eclipse, like 60 cents to get all the rest of the Ruby cards.
yeah, I've about gotten to where I just don't care on the Steam trading cards because that happens quite frequently.
Yeah.
And I'm like, eh.
I would like to at least get the badges for the games I care about. And if I can make the money to get those cards by selling cards I don't care about, I'll do that.
I mean, yeah, if you can do that, that's fine. But you know as well as I do, some of the people that are buying the cards that we're selling,
Yep.
they're actually buying the cards that we're selling, and it's like, why?
Yeah, I think I've crafted 3 cards off I've crafted like about 3 badges doing this method. Just selling pretty much the Steam trading cards for the summer sale at like 3 cents a pop because that's what they're going for. Like 5 cents a pop.
Yeah, I was gonna say typically they go for 5 cents.
Yeah. 5 cents a pop, and I have crafted 3 badges all throughout the entire Steam summer sale so far. Yeah, it's worked out the best for me.
I have to ask, how have you been basing the price that you put in for them?
What is the current price they're going for? Okay, I'll do that minus 2 cents because that's what Steam requires that's Steam's take on this. So
Well, the reason I'm saying, do you take a look at the average or the max?
I want to say what I look at is the average.
Okay.
Either the average or whatever was the last sold.
Well, the reason I was wondering is because a lot of times you can put the max in and it takes a little bit longer, but you do wind up selling it. Because what winds up happening is the average winds up coming up to that point when more people are doing that.
Yeah.
So it's more likely to get sold at that point then.
Yeah, I know I pulled up a couple cards at 5 cents, and they were immediately sold as soon as I put them up.
Yeah, if you want them gone quick, put them at the average.
Yeah.
Because it'll almost go instantaneously.
Yeah.
But if you want to try to make the most out of them and don't care how long they sit, then typically look at what the highest point is and put it there. It's worked for me so far,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, I'm like, I really don't care if I sell them or not. It does me no good if I keep them, and I kind of want to see how many people decide they want to do it at that point.
Mm-hmm. I actually did find out that the Chroma Squad full card I have it's actually cheaper for me to get the rest of the full card set than it is to polish off the regular Chroma Squad card set.
Huh.
Which I thought was just weird. It's just like, how is it cheaper for me to get the foil set than it is the regular set?
It is kind of odd.
Yeah. And for stuff that's not selling, like, there's some stuff that's only selling for like 3 cents, aka I'm only getting a penny out of it. I just turn that into gems. To be like,
Yeah.
I'll get a booster pack eventually of something. Because I think baseline booster pack for me for a game I care about is 500 gems. That's baseline. If I higher up, it's in the 1,000, or it's 1,000 plus. But I did donate during the marathon.
Ah.
I donated $15 and a penny after the Kingdom Hearts run.
Did you have a message?
Boop. That is all my message read was boop. And for those wondering, why it plus a penny? Because I think every time I donated to Speed Gamers, I also added a penny to it just to be a dick. I was like, here's my donation plus a penny. I don't know if it'll take the penny, but I'm gonna try. I don't know if PayPal eats that penny. But yeah, that put me in the running for that Legend of Zelda Kingdom Hearts crossover art. That was one of the prizes.
Yeah, I saw that thing.
That
looked awesome.
Did you see the Wolf Sif one from Dark Souls?
I don't think I did.
That looked gorgeous. Because there's that and a Dark Link one that looks really good. Because it's the Dark Link fight from Ocarina of Time, I believe is what they said.
That's what Clint said.
Yeah. But yeah, the Sif Wolf one from Dark Souls looks really good as well. But yeah, that put me in the running for that, and I assume everything below that prize-wise.
I would think. I don't know how that all actually works.
Considering what Sent said once, I assume if you donate $50, that gets you into everything at the $50 one, and then everything below that for that time period.
I know that any of them counted towards the cumulative, so I would assume that it's the same concept there.
Yeah. It's like you didn't need to donate $5 to get the $5 prize and then $10 more. If you donate $10, you're gonna win for. I'm gonna be sad if I don't win, if I win something else besides that, because that's the only thing I really cared about in that, except for like the $20 prize pack of books. Because I should totally have more reading when I have 3 Pokemon Adventures books sitting on the microwave for my dorm room behind me that I haven't read yet. Granted, it's about 2.5 considering where I am in one of those, but that. Anyway, since we're like an hour and a half into the show, so we talk about articles?
Shall we?
So, you know how Pokemon Go may not be the best game in the world?
It's not?
Yeah, kind of.
What do you mean it's not? I mean,
granted, I haven't.
It's augmented reality. It has to be good.
Well, this isn't that. It's something else.
Oh,
this
I'm sure this is something else for the article, but I'm talking about Pokemon Go also.
Yeah, I haven't got to try out the trading system yet, mainly because I don't trade with, because I think you need to be buddies for like 6 months in order to really trade. I don't think, but to get the best benefits in trading, you have to be like buddies for 6 months, which means you have to have been playing together for 6 months.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the grind. The grind is bad. The grind is not fun.
Well, that's
But
okay. I kind of got just bored with Pokemon Go really quickly. So,
you could have caught you on Low and Executor.
okay, if I want to do that, I can just play Sun or Moon.
Very true. I just caught one to put one in a gym eventually.
Why not put the meme tree in a gym?
Because I want to see if his head is sticking out of the gym.
You know it will be.
I know it will be, but I demand to see. Because no gym I have looked at it does that. Anyway, this video is showing a AR demo, codename Niantic Occlusion? Occlusion? What the fuck is that word? Occlusion?
I don't know how they would go about on that one.
Okay, occlusion, the blockage or closing of a blood vessel or hollow or.
Kind of cut out right there.
Okay, it's the occlusion. I don't have the pronunciation for it, but apparently it's either the blockage or closing of a blood vessel, hollow organ, or a process in which the cold front of a rotating low-pressure system overtakes the warm front, forcing warm air upward above a wedge of cold air. How does that have anything to do with this video demo? I don't know, but okay, fine. But apparently this demo is showing off Pikachu running around in the real world and actually hiding behind objects and stuff. And actually casting a shadow, and that's not how depth works. Also, he's totally running through people. And also still looks a bit shaky. Yeah, this is a bit alpha. Because he is, in fact, clipping in the ground from it. And bouncing up and down, I assume, from your head movement. Because I assume you have to wear some fancy glasses thing in order for this to actually work.
No, it just works.
Or you're looking at your phone through the camera and it's doing this. Eh? I mean, it's not as good of a teaser as the Fortnite thing from today that I forgot about. Did you know that Fortnite was doing an event thing today?
I knew they were doing the whole everyone gets 100% experience boost, but
Well, apparently at a certain time today, if you queued up and were on the map, you got to see a rocket.
Oh yeah, the rocket. Yeah, I remember.
You got to see a rocket launch from the villain base and warp around Tilted Towers because we refuse to break Tilted Towers, or because the internet will kill us if we do so. So instead of breaking Tilted Towers, we decided to break reality. I think. Is there a shield surrounding the Fortnite world? So I saw someone mention the shield got broke with the crack in the sky.
Not really a shield.
I assumed it was a crack in reality, considering that damn rocket was porting all over the place, and it was literally breaking reality in order to do so. So I assume that's a crack in reality itself, and I'm like, this looks bad. Whose idea was it to launch the reality-breaking missile?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but...
No, see, it's a representation of what happened when they added Playground in earlier this week.
Oh, did it break the game?
They had to take it out. It's not queued to come back up till, like, next week.
What happened?
Don't know. Kind of upset because that would have been a good thing for us to do at some point.
Yeah, yeah. Because, you know, it's one thing for Fallout 76 to promise you can launch a nuke into somebody's house to be a total dick. It's another for no one to just be able to control a missile that just goes and breaks reality. Because that totally won't fuck everybody over.
Well, you know, it's one thing when you propose that players can do it. It's another when the developer thinks they can do it.
But, yeah, in other news, Overwatch showed off their new champion. And I greatly approve.
Why is Hamtaro in a mech?
I don't know, and I don't care. This is glorious. It is a hamster. And a beefed up.
Oh,
And
my
I'll
bad.
be honest.
Hammond.
Okay.
The article title says it.
But it's a hamster, and considering the front of that and a beefed up portal turret that can roll.
Oh god, he repurposed Gladys.
Yep. Because I believe
Gladys 3.0. Less potatoey. Sorry, had to do it. Had to do it.
Yeah. Because I believe from a small gameplay clip I've seen of this, I don't know if it's its ultimate or not, but he just rolls around and kills people by rolling in.
So, Sonic the Hamster
Yes.
in one of Robotnik's machines?
Yep. I greatly approve of this. Thank you, Overwatch, for doing fun things with your game.
Gotta roll fast.
Yep. So, in other news,
In other news,
we're getting a Halo TV series on Showtime.
boo. I mean, whoops.
And here's all our details. It's a 10-episode series. The executive producer is Kyle Killen from Lone Star. It will be directed and produced by Rupert Wyatt, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Steven Spielberg, Showtime, and Amblin Television assisted 343 in putting together the creative team. It'll be an epic news story experience set in the Halo universe. It will be working to balance moments fans have already experienced and moments they have yet to be experienced, in order to create something respectful of the franchise, but also new and surprising and enthralling. No release date.
So, this is going to be not. We're trying to fix Halo 5.
Yes. Apparently, we're going into full production in 2019. You know what this is going to be? And it lists it right there, like Halo Nightfall, Halo Forward on and on. I think it's just going to be those with a better budget.
I don't. Remember the whole plot dump that I believe we talked about on Rampant Gaming that they're gonna have to kind of fix.
Yeah.
Because if some of that's right, then that's what this is gonna be, fixing that. Which, I mean, maybe.
Honestly, this is neat, but I will remind everybody we were supposed to have a Halo Peter Jackson movie at some point, and then that went poof. So until this thing has a date and footage, I don't care. It's in the pile of shit we've talked about that's supposed to be adaptations of video games and other media, but we've seen hide nor hair of them since we talked. Just saying. So, you know how Sony doesn't like crossplay?
Sony doesn't like crossplay. What's that? I mean,
Well, Joe Smedley, former head of Sony Online Entertainment, on his Twitter, talked about apparently why that's the case. And it's stupid, as the article points out. Essentially says that when he was working at Sony, the internal reason why was money. They didn't like someone, quoting here, they didn't like someone buying something on an Xbox and it being used on a PlayStation. Simple as that. Dumb reason, but there it is.
and when people wonder why the PS5 failed, there you go. Because why do I feel like that's just already there?
Pretty much.
Because everyone's kind of ticked at Sony right now.
And the only reason it will stop being the case is when they stop making money otherwise.
Well, okay. I am gonna say this. The whole Fortnite situation is completely and utterly retarded.
Yep.
You can't convert your purchases that you did on the PS4 version to anything else.
You actually can't convert your account as a whole,
Yeah.
is what it is. Literally, your account, if you created it on a PlayStation 4 console, is held hostage, to quote Jim Sterling, by Sony.
That's the issue I have with it. I mean, Epic went through the hassle of setting up integration with all the platforms so that they essentially hosted the accounts. That feels to me like Sony overstepping their boundaries. In all seriousness, I can see them saying we don't want crossplay because of competition.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see them saying, oh, you made your Fortnite account on a PS4? Guess what? You can't play that anywhere else. Have fun.
Although I do love that this has prompted Nintendo and Microsoft to make a commercial about, oh, by the way, you can play Fortnite together on our consoles.
It's one of those that Sony's fixing to walk themselves right out the gaming scene if they don't straighten stuff up. I mean, not letting crossplay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine if they don't want someone playing with someone else on the competitor's console. Because try to push console sales. I can get that. It's another when you start holding third-party accounts hostage.
Mm-hmm. I think it will happen once they start losing any lead they have right now. They have a lead. And then they'll go, oh shit, we need to win people back. What's the fastest way for us to win back? Crossplay. Okay, fine. Flip the buttons. Because that's literally all they need to do is... And then it's fine. Because I believe the Rocket League devs confirmed that all they have to do is flip a button and we're good. Well, we have better news. Ish, kind of. Depends on how you take this.
Better than Sony being stupid, or...
I guess it depends on how you took Octo Expansion, because according to series producer Hisashi Nogami, Octo Expansion will be the first and only paid single-player content for the series. Or for Splatoon 2, at least.
I'm gonna say this. Did anyone really expect another DLC? They said they were gonna support Splatoon 2 for another year for free updates.
Yep.
So at that point, did anyone really expect another DLC?
I would expect something depending on Octo expansion sales, and that may or may not just be them taking lessons from Octo expansion and applying that to Splatoon 3.
I feel like what I expected out of this is actually going to happen. We're getting another year of support for Splatoon 2. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we only have a year between the last Splatfest and Splatoon 2?
We just wrapped up the Splatfest.
No, Splatoon 1 Splatfest.
Remember.
I can't remember when the last one was. But I'm wanting to say it was only about a year between them. Between the release of Splatoon 2 and the last Splatoon 1 Splatfest.
They also said that since, you're going to have to pay for your Nintendo Play to pay to play Nintendo games online come this fall, they're going to double down, or they're going to increase support on the multiplayer side of things to make sure that that cost, which is like, what, $20 a year, is worthwhile.
Okay, let's see here. Wow. I hit that on the nose. It was literally one day away from exactly a year between the last Splatfest and Splatoon 2. So, okay, we're getting one more year of support for the game. Meaning that we're looking at support ending in July of 2019. That means more than likely, if they follow the same dev cycle, we're probably looking at Splatoon 3 in 2020.
Yeah.
I kind of would expect this, in all seriousness, being the only single player DLC. Because at this point, any new ideas is going to go into Splatoon 3.
Yeah. And I just hope we learn the right lessons from Octo expansion, aka let's not make it hard as balls. We don't need it to be hard as balls.
I still say the only reason it's that hard is thanks to whatever new AI concept they did.
Yep.
Because I don't understand that. Most AIs are pretty consistent. For some stupid reason, the enemy AI in Splatoon 2 sometimes is dumb as a box of rocks, and other times is a rank S player. And it's like, what the frick? There's no rhyme or reason in it. Because I have literally had times in the main story, not even counting Octa expansion, but the main story, I'll do the same mission, one speed run, never get touched by an Octoling. Do it the second time, the first Octoling busts my shield, the second one finishes me off. Just boom. And it's like, huh? Like that combination of RNG plus randomness in the AI difficulty, I feel like is what made that DLC far harder than it should have been.
Yep.
But yeah, all seriousness, I kind of saw this one coming. And in terms of them banking on the Nintendo Online service, it's one of those that they're under Nintendo, so they're gonna have to bank on it. They kind of have no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
So might as well just go all in on it. But yeah. My thing is I hope that the Nintendo Online service doesn't do the inverse and start causing a lot of people to be like, well, I'm already paying for Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus. Why would I pay for
Yeah.
another service?
Yeah.
But to this, I'm going to say, unless you're paying for all three services, you're coming out with a year for both the Nintendo Online and whichever one of the other two you use for $80. That's not bad.
Yeah. Not especially since that's a one-time purchase just to cover you for a year.
And I mean, you look, you get free games with either the Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, and you're getting classic games on the Nintendo Online with multiplayer compatibility. Like, did everyone forget the multiplayer compatibility part is the big thing?
I think the reason people are not super big on all of the retro stuff is because that's been done for free now. Granted, it's janky at times, but you can do that for free.
But, okay, you say it's janky at times, but keep in mind anything with NES and SNES is the thing they're focusing on for this.
Right.
What we've had issues with has been N64 forward.
True.
We haven't actually tried to do anything net play wise with those.
Mm-hmm.
But I still kind of feel like, especially now that Nintendo's had some time to get online services under their belt, it might be better than anything we could come up with net play side.
I would hope.
It, one of those, it's going to depend on if they hold true to the you don't keep the games after the month is up kind of deal, or if they realize that might not be the best idea and change tactics with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess time will tell on that one.
Yep.
Because we are officially 2 months away from finding that out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, part of me hopes it does good. The other part of me is like, what happens when it doesn't turn out too good? And the online is just a barren wasteland kind of deal.
Well, we got some kind of sad Smash news, considering what Ultimate has kind of built itself, at least character-wise, that unfortunately won't extend the stages. And we were kind of talking about part of this earlier, but talking with Bill Trinan and Nate Bildoff, Bildorf,
Bildorf, I think.
Bildorf. We're gonna go with Bildor. Talking about Smash Ultimate, they confirmed that while we have 75 stages that can be viewed from all the different character trailers, screenshots, and all the other footage we've gotten, we won't be getting every stage that has appeared in Smash Brothers so far.
which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's quite a bit, and bear in mind they have to pack this all on a cart slash whatever additional download space they need.
Yeah, isn't there some game that requires a 15 gig download that's coming out soon on Switch?
That, and I'm wanting to say, isn't there one of the games that's already came out that requires like right at 30 gigs?
Yeah, which is more space than the base Switch has, which means you're required to have an SD card at that point. Which
I
reminds
mean,
me, I should get an SD card at some point for my Switch.
I've actually got two.
Oh, I need to get one. I need to get a good sizable one just to stick in there and be like, yep, nope, never more have to worry about memory again.
I think I've got two 64 gigs. That way, if I ever have to swap out, then I'm good. Yeah, two 64 gigs.
Yeah, I should do that.
And I don't think I have anything installed on the base system itself. Like right now, everything's installed on the SD card.
Ah.
And I've only used half of it.
Mhm.
But, you know, that's something too. The Nintendo games that have came out thus far, I don't think any of them have really had to use the storage. I think pretty much everything's been on the cart.
Mhm. I know in an odd bit of story, considering I assume people would be wanting Kingdom Hearts to get ported to Switch, and I look at them and go, no, please, God, no, 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 no.
The
I
Switch
think
does not have that much room for that.
Yeah, because I think Sakurai has stated that they are trying to jam everything they can on disc, and they are running out of space to jam things on the disc for Kingdom Hearts 3, which makes me raise my eyebrows and go, how big is Kingdom Hearts 3 if you are struggling to put everything on Kingdom Hearts 3 into one modern disc? Because that's a lot of space. Like, bejeebus.
By the
And
way,
now you're...
yeah, I believe I'm right on that because, granted, I don't have many cartridges, but the Mario Kart 8 stuff's only update data.
Mhm.
Same with the stuff for 1-2 Switch. Trying to find Breath of the Wild because that one might have something more. Not really. I mean, the DLC and then the update data.
Mhm.
So, I think they've done a pretty good job on fitting everything into the carts so far.
Yeah, I was going to say 75 stages. I think that's more than all the stages from both versions of 4 together, I believe. Unique stage-wise.
Probably.
So I was seeing 30 and 40, but I don't know how many are shared to get an accurate number.
And, by the way, Mario and Rabbids, same thing.
Ah.
The update data is the only thing. So, I mean, unfortunately, I can't tell with like Odyssey and some of them like that because of the simple fact of I picked up digital copies of everything else. I literally only have 4 cartridges. But yeah, one of those you'd probably be able to find out more on that. Because I honestly, if you did find out on Odyssey, we could get a rough estimate of how far, like how much data we know is on a cart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the wiki I'm looking at has confirmed 84 for Ultimate, apparently.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't quite have a standalone number, unfortunately. But that would be 34 plus 46, approximately.
Yeah.
That's about as many stages between both of those versions together. And bear in mind, there's apparently a lot of unique stages between the both of them. And that's pulling all of those together. And there is not a whole lot missing. Because I have a list, thanks to this wiki, of what's missing and what's not confirmed at the moment. Looking at like Melee's Yoshi Island, Woolly World, Windy Hill Zone, Sector Z, Rumble Falls, Rainbow Road, Rainbow Cruise, Pyrosphere, Poke Floats, Planet Zebus, Pirate Ship, Peach's Castle. Wait, 64 Peach's Castle? 64 Peach's Castle, okay. I was making sure on that one. Paper Mario, Pac Maze, Orbital Gate Assault, Mute City from Smash 4, and then Mute City from Melee, Mushroom Kingdom from Melee, Mushroom Kingdom from 4, Miiverse, Mario Brothers, Congo Jungle, Jungle Hijinks. So, yeah, there's a fairly large list here.
Well,
of what we're
Miiverse won't be
missing.
coming back.
Yeah.
We know that.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
And
they
then,
do
like,
something like Splatoon and have Twitter integration.
and I was about to say, you can eliminate 8 of the stages here because they were Final Destination and Battlefield. So you can take those off the list because those are always redone for the next iteration. Those don't count in this conversation.
Case in point, we already saw the new Battlefield.
We've seen Battlefield, and I believe, according to Game Playing, we've gotten like snippets of Final Destination. Like we might have seen the background, and you might have seen a bit of the stage. So, of course, we've already seen Final Destination, so that's like 8 we can already remove from that list of what would come back to start with. So it's very likely that most of the unique stages will come back. Theoretically, it's like we are not getting every version of Battlefield and every version of Final Destination back. That's not happening.
Oh, but why not?
Do we need 5 versions of Final Destination?
Yes.
When every stage can be Final Destination.
Yes. Final Destination for days.
And then the same with Battlefield, because all the stages have Battlefield versions too.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm also thinking, like, you almost don't need a Battlefield in a Final Destination if everything has a Battlefield in Final Destination version. There's no point of having those default stages anymore if everything has it, special with those.
Very true.
But some of the other questions I got asked is about single-player modes, which there's no word on just yet, but what we saw at E3 is apparently a tiny part of the game. There will be other modes. No plans for a beta or demo.
Boo.
Wait, there are currently no finalized plans for a beta or a demo. However, we hope to announce some news about a beta sometime within the 2018. I would hope that'd be soon because this comes out in what, December?
Yeah.
Let's see. Sakurai is in charge of tweaking the characters' parameters. The version seen at E3 is not the final version. It will be changed, so no pro player involvement apparently. Stages will not change between docked and handheld. Not every title will be coming back. Not every stage from past titles are making a return. Many of them are coming back. Stages from 3S version will be returning with graphics, as you may have seen today. You can play with just one Joy-Con, and you can play Smash Brothers. Probably with one Joy-Con for each person as well. As for the GameCube controller, you can use the one sold for the Wii U through the Wii U GameCube adapter. But we're also planning to sell versions of the adapter and controllers with the new logo as well. However, GameCube controllers are only usable in dock mode because there's no place to plug in for
Unless
portable,
you got an
I
adapter.
guess.
Unless you've got an adapter.
Is there an adapter for that?
There's technically USB-C to USB-A adapters.
Oh, so
I have one.
As long as the software supports it, I think you're okay there.
I have one because I can actually use a Xbox controller on my Switch if I want.
Ah.
Kind of pointless. I got a Pro controller, but I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much it for articles, and let's just move on to releases. Oh boy, is there a good thing I didn't pull from PC, because oh good lord, that list. So huge. So huge. Fuck that. Fuck that hard. I'm not reading that.
Also, shoutouts to the site refreshing when I hit the zoom in button. It's not supposed to do that.
Well. So, kicking off on July the 2nd, we have Spirit Sphere DX for the Switch. On the 3rd, we have Jurassic World Evolution for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. That is the, essentially, Roller Coaster Tycoon for Jurassic Park. So if you have desired to live out your fantasy of making Jurassic Park and then having all the dinosaurs escape and turning it into the movies, you can do that. Have fun with that. You can legitimately do that. Have fun. We have Red Faction Gorilla Remastered for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC, and Rumbo for PlayStation 4 and Switch. On the 4th, we have What's the Box for Xbox One and Nekopara Volume 1 for Switch. On the 5th, we have Warhammer 40k Inquisitor Martyr for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And we have ACA Neo Geo Samurai Showdown 5 for Switch. Awkward for Switch. Disease, Hidden Object, Johnny Turbo's Arcade 2, Crude, Miles and Kilo, Mushroom Wars 2, Pocket Rumble, Squid's Odyssey, Super Rock Blasters, The Journey Down, Chapter 3, Ultra Space Battle Brawl, in Yuso for Switch. Essentially, a whole bunch of eShop releases from it.
Whole lot of indie titles / retro release.
Yep. On the 6th, we have the Wardrobe for Switch. And on the 9th, we have Another World in Hatterbox for Switch. On the 10th, we have Defiance 2050 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Hotel Transylvania 3, Monsters Overboard for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. MXGP Pro for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Shining Resonance Reframe for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. 20XX for PlayStation 4 and Switch. Black Sea Odyssey for PlayStation 4. Insane Robots for PlayStation 4. The Spectrum Retreat for PlayStation 4. Moo Love and Moo Love Alternative for the Vita. Bomber Crew, Hunting Simulator for Switch. Mutter Slash for Switch and PC. And then Neural, Never Out, and The Lion Song for Switch. On the 11th, we have 20XX for Xbox One, Ghost 1.0 for Xbox One, and Warhammer Vermintide 2 for Xbox One. On the 12th, we have Philippix, Phil's Epic Adventure for Switch, Ghost 1.0, Holy Potatoes, A Weapon Shop, and Super Volley Blast for Switch. On the 13th, we have Earthfall for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC, Gekito, Kintaro's Revenge for Xbox One, Insane Robots for Xbox One, The Spectrum Retreat for Xbox One and PC, Owlboy Limited Edition for PlayStation 4, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker for Switch and 3DS, and probably the largest release on this list, Octopath Traveler on the Switch. And on the 14th,
Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a big release.
a port.
Still a big release. And it's a good
And
game.
Yep. And on the 14th, Chicken Assassin Reloaded for PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. Which brings us to quick draws, and mine's a two-part, mainly because it wasn't all in one place. Meh.
Meh.
Yeah. Which is some of the scans we got recently for the next month of build. Not shown here, Lupin Ranger, Patter Ranger, which is mainly just, hey, here's Lupin X and Patter X and his mech. Look forward to that, and they will be here in like 2 episodes. So, or actually, X Emperor is next episode for Lupin Ranger, Patter Ranger. So that covers pretty much everything on the scans. And for build, running into the last part of build, and the build movie, and also first tease of Zio, which you see there. Spoilers, there's nothing to talk about with Zio besides time travel? Maybe? Possibly?
If... Okay, I'm gonna spitball something here. What if... It definitely looks like a time-based one. I'll give it that.
If the rumors are true about the belt, it will be time.
Well, even the suit design can look similar to that.
Yeah.
So let's assume that. I wonder if it's something like pseudo similar to Decade. Like, rather than having alternate universes that you have to travel, it's actually maybe post-series plot lines that the show kind of focuses on.
Potentially.
Which, that might be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, you look, every time we've seen the other riders, there's a gap.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe.
My biggest problem is anytime we've touched time travel recently with Ryder, it's kind of not ended up good.
Fair. But
Granted,
that's why I'm saying maybe kind of have this set up as like post-series stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it can fit into it, but it doesn't have to change anything.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about with Zio next month when we actually get to sit down and actually talk about the concept of Zio, or like the synopsis in the suit itself, because it debuts in August, I believe. Because we're looking at 49 episodes on build is the count right now. Is the confirmed final count for build episodes, which puts us in August for Zio's debut. Assuming we don't have any breaks, which we shouldn't have any breaks right now, it will. I want to say it's August. Because today was 42, 43, 44, 47, 48, 49, 25th of August. Yeah, other than that, we had build scans. We got a Volt's monster form where he's still wearing the belt for some reason. Why? Why are you wearing the belt if you are not using your rider form? Baron didn't wear his belt when he got his monster form. Why are you? Talking about Sento's dad being Build as well. So, we can have Build and Build. Another shot of Zio and some quick snippets of stuff coming up. The biggest and most important things is the Blizzard Knuckle, which is a thing apparently, and Misora is going to be turned into CD Smash, which is going to happen and be resolved in next week's episode. Pretty much.
Because it has to.
Yeah, pretty much. It's gonna happen and be resolved next week. I guarantee it. So I hope you are all ready for that. And finally, suggestions on how build can possibly end. Which, considering none of these line up with the ending we have seen from Be the One, I doubt any of these are happening. Because remember, Be the One's in continuity, and it happens at the end of the series. Because guess what showed up this week from Ryuga when he got a hold of the Dragonfall bottle?
What?
It turned silver. You know, like the one that's in the movie.
Uh.
But yeah, the three endings suggested are End of the World, which is the main picture. The top left picture is Intoku takes over the country and unites it, which doesn't happen because there's 3 new prime ministers for each of the 3 regions. And spoilers, they're all fucking aliens. They're all the same species as Stark. And they're all assholes. And the third is apparently Stark turns good, which I call bullshit. What's that? What's the for?
Part of me's feeling like that one is going to be the one they're going to grasp at.
Okay. Soichi is in the trailer. But we don't know which Soichi. We don't know if it's Stark Soichi or regular Soichi.
But to this, I'm gonna say too, we don't know what Genius Form effectively did to Evolt. We just know it essentially let him start feeling emotions.
Yep.
So maybe that's gonna be what happens. But at this point in the show, I would still be at the point of, oh, he's wanting to turn good, kill him anyway.
I'm sorry, you started 2 wars and have killed millions of people, literally. Fuck off and die.
But you know what's bad? Sento wouldn't do that. And that's what hurts. It's like if he tries to turn good, Sento couldn't just say, no, you've done screwed up, I'm killing you.
You know what he should say? Go home. No, leave. Go home. Leave us alone. Go home and make your species a better fucking people, you asshole.
But you know that as well as I do.
Come back.
You know that as well as I do. And that's what's painful. Because that might be the one that happens.
Yeah. Well, speaking of said movie, we have scans of that, which give us our first look at Rabbit Dragon. Which, okay, we know it involves a gold and silver, or a gold rabbit full bottle and a silver dragon full bottle. You know what's used to transform into this?
What?
Neither one of those. It's actually using a repaint of the sparkling can, called the cross-build can. You can actually see it in the belt in the first scan. So, question. What do the full bottles have to do with this? Do we stick them in the bottle or in the can? Because that's not how the can works. But yeah, here's the funny thing about this form that I'm kind of finding. Like, okay, dragon full ball is involved. Okay, so half the suit is a repaint of the dragon, cross dragon. Okay, rabbit full bottle. The other half is a repaint of rabbit. What? Wait, what? Why is it not regular rabbit? Why is it Rabbit Rabbit? What? How? How is it Rabbit Rabbit? Why is it Rabbit Rabbit? Also, why does it have Stark's coattails? Which I think are Wizard's coattails, which I think they've been reusing actually since Wizard. Because I think they reused them for the Wizard suit for X8. Also, do you see picture 2? Or what's listed as picture 2 on the side of the first scan?
Yeah.
Okay, is it just me, or is that Sawa having Sento in an armbar? Because I swear to God, it looks like Sawa has Sento in an armbar.
Yeah, it kind of does.
I'm gonna hope that Sawa having Sento in an armbar, and I hope there's no explanation for why this is the case. Because I love the fact that Sawa is secretly. We also have a look at Kamen Rider Blood, who, spoilers, is one of the prime ministers. And also spoilers, the other two prime ministers are the Zebra and Scissors Lost Smash. Oh look, our new prime ministers are all evil! Because they're all fucking aliens, and better yet, they're the same fucking species as Stark, because of course they are. Also, I'm going to be sad that this design will never be made into a... much like many of our one-off writer villains for movies. But you know what's hilarious about what he uses? Like, okay, he's using the Cobra Lost Phobos, right?
Yeah.
He's also using the Great Cross Dragon that Ryuga has, and he's using the Hazard Trigger. Why? This is the weirdest mix mash of bullshit to use to transform a movie villain ever. Also, apparently Ryuga's supposed to be a bad guy in this movie. I doubt that severely. But yeah, like I said, we also get to see the Zebra and the Scissors Lost Smash, which means I think by the end of the series we'll see all of the Lost, or all of the Smash related to the Lost Full bottles. But yeah, Be the One debuts in a month, so expect details on what happens in Be the One in about a month, and then not see the movie until like January or February when we're like 20 episodes into Zayo. And have probably already heard about the fucking crossover film between Zayo and Bills. Because I guarantee you, Zayo's stuff related to Build is going to happen in the crossover film for ease. But that's pretty much it for me. Tell me, what is your quick draw?
Well, mine is actually a little speedrunning event that I'm being a part of, along with a good bit of others. The list there is actually not the finalized list. I believe the final schedule just got posted, but it could still change. I'm fixing to... So hold on a second, and I'm gonna update the...
I'm looking through the list of games, and okay, I have to ask, what
Yes.
exactly is the speedrun for Mario and Sonic at the London Olympics?
Honestly, don't know right offhand.
Like, is that what I'm thinking it is? Where you're just doing the events as fast as possible, or are there actually glitches here?
A good question. I would think there's probably... glitches?
There's only 6 people with times.
I see this. And that is that category too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would assume there's glitches. Also, the first link. Wrong card. No, you didn't see the E3 card randomly flash on screen for a second there. That totally didn't happen. But yeah, I will be doing a run of Odyssey there. I was debating on submitting more, but honestly, Odyssey's the only thing I've done in a little while, so yeah. And I do have a donation incentive for it also that is going to be... Oh, wait, no. Never mind. I guess that they didn't throw that one in there. Okay. That works too. I was going to have a donation incentive in there for doing the festival in Metro. I think I timed it and it wasn't going to change too much, in all seriousness. But yeah. Either way, that part it doesn't look like it made it, but oh well. Wait, really? There apparently is a Super Metroid fan game in here?
Yeah, I saw that too.
I happened to see the save or kill the
And there's a few
animals
Project
incentive,
runs
and I'm
there
like,
as well, by the way.
but there is also a Subspace Emissary run, and all kinds of other interesting games that more than likely wouldn't be in a GDQ.
Yep.
Not gonna lie on that. But yeah, there's gonna be a link in the articles list. Go ahead and check it out there. More information. There's forums as well. And honestly, this is kind of one of those where I'm like, I would be fine with trying to get into a few of these littler ones and maybe at some point get good at one run enough to try to submit it to GDQ. I don't think it'll be anytime soon unless it's ARMS, but yeah. And if I recall right, that one got denied this for SGDQ, so I didn't actually get to see the videos that were submitted for it, so I might try to dig them up.
Yeah, it looks like the London run doesn't have glitches. I don't think. Although he is doing bad on some events, I think on purpose.
So maybe it's not so much glitches, but RNG manipulation?
I don't know. I'm so confused. I hope there's an explanation, because this has my curiosity.
So that is kind of interesting there.
Well, I have to apply to take the tests that I need to take over the summer for school now, because I finished up the practice exam. So I gotta drop $176 on that and pass it so I can get that money back from the school. Hopefully.
That sounds like fun.
I need to pass it. Otherwise, I have to take a class that's the same as another class, and that ain't happening. That super ain't happening. But I don't know when I'll take it. I might end up if is the next day from me streaming. I might not stream that day, so I can actually rest before I take that test because that's like a 6-hour test. Like it's 100 questions and a whole bunch of engineering shit, and it might take me the whole 6 hours to actually take it. I don't know. Wait, what do you mean they're at 1.9 million? Excuse me, they actually did hit 1.9 million?
Ooh.
How close are they to 2?
If chats are at 100K, so they literally just broke the 1.9.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
They are $315 over 1.9 million. So it's 99 some odd number, or 99,000 some odd number in there, some away from a million, with probably an hour
and a half
half-ish
before
Yeah,
we go
hour
to
and a half
finale, I'd
before.
say.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on how Quexel's been doing on 6.
Mm-hmm. Since I have only played like the opening of 6, I don't know where he is.
Same. What version
It's like
of 6 have you played, though?
ye olde SNES version
Ah.
that I emulated the fuck out of.
My experience was with the mobile version, I believe it was.
I think that's a port of a remastered version of it.
I believe it is. So I don't know if there's differences.
I don't think there is, actually.
I doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah. 6 is one of the Final Fantasies
It
I'm
probably
interested in
boils
besides
down.
12.
It probably boils down to glitches are done differently.
Yeah. Because, like, 6 has the female protagonist in Clown Boy, and I kind of like that idea. And then 12 is just Star Wars. And if you think I'm wrong, go look at the plot of 12 and tell me that's not Star Wars. Because as a Star Wars fan, I can tell you, it is in fact Star Wars. It is super fucking Star Wars. Apparently, we're doing opera shit at the moment. Yeah, I think that will do it for us this week. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more fun news and nonsense and hour-and-a-half talks about stuff that isn't on our list of things to talk about before we actually talk about the things we're supposed to talk about.
Yep.
I think we need a version of TP's quotes of, we do occasionally talk about video games. Except in our cases, we do occasionally talk about news, except we don't. We occasionally talk about everything else but the news.
Yeah.
But we'll see you then, folks. Enjoy the rest of GDQ.